Ron DeSantis?
Yeah, this one's he's actually quite bad at politics and very untalented.
Well, the good news is it's showing up in his numbers, and therefore he won't walk into a situation that he can't handle. Like, you don't want one of those situations where you're really bad at politics and then you accidentally get elected president. That's not going to happen to Ron DeSantis. Here he is on Meet the Press with Welker, Kristen Welker, I should say.
Going after Nikki Haley, right? In this clip, is this the one? Or
this is the one about him censoring Palestinian groups.
But there's another part of this interview we don't need to play. I just find it notable that he's attacking Nikki Haley.
He has to. He's losing in Iowa now.
He's in the race for like the most distant second, as if Trump is the literal incumbent. That's how big the gulf is right now.
Response.
Well, let me ask you about some of the statements that you have made recently about those protesters. This week, you called for the banning of pro-Palestinian groups from Florida state colleges. Your Republican challenger, Vivek Ramaswamy, says that violates the First Amendment rights of these students. He writes, quote, "It's a shameful political ploy. It's unconstitutional. It's utter hypocrisy for someone who railed against left-wing cancel culture." What is your response to Mr. Ramaswamy?
This is not cancel culture. This group, they themselves said in the aftermath of the Hamas attack that they don't just stand in solidarity, that they are part of this Hamas movement. And so, yeah, you have a right to go out and demonstrate, but you can't provide material support to terrorism. They've linked themselves to Hamas. And so we absolutely decertified them. They should not get 1 red cent of taxpayer dollars. And we also have strong laws in Florida against fundraising for groups like Hamas, and we are enforcing those vigorously. It's not a First Amendment issue. That's a material support to terrorism issue.
Yeah, just to be clear, you're citing the Florida law that says one cannot give material aid or resources to a terrorist organization. Do you have any support that they're actually doing that?
Their own words are saying they're part of this organization, that they don't just stand in solidarity, that they don't just support what they did, but that this is their movement too.
Pause it. Incidentally, for those of you who don't have a dictionary, material support is specifically not rhetorical support. So if your evidence that someone is providing material support for an organization is their words, then you have no evidence of material support. You just have people words. And the words he's saying is that, like, they're part of the movement. It's not even like, it's one thing if they went out and said, like, we're sending your dollars to Hamas. And I don't even know if then there's not even evidence. There's just sort of like circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, but sometimes
there's no evidence of material support when someone says, like, I'm part of this movement. That's absurd.
But sometimes words can be so terroristy that they become material, you know? And that's what free speech absolutists think.
Exactly. This guy, it is exactly cancel culture. And again, it's like what I've been saying. The only reason why it's not cancel culture is because cancel culture is only when non-reactionary forces actually shame people. That's what cancel culture is. This is just like the same old, same old. Remember, there is in 25 states a law that has been on the books for years now that has said that if you have a government contract in any way, let's say you're a speech therapist in Texas, and the school hires you to do speech therapy for elementary school kids who have trouble, I don't know, they have trouble articulating things. You are, by law, in the state of Texas, and in, I think, like it's about 24 other states around the country, forbidden from protesting against Israel. That's not a lie or a joke. That law has been on the books for years in all these states where they talk about 35 states.
Anti-BDS laws as of 2021.
You're
Thank you,
not
Bradley.
allowed to boycott products from Israel.
Oh, it was called anti-Semitic. And then there's like, why didn't the Palestinians and the supporter of Palestine, why weren't they so peaceful in their demands?
Why don't they try to do some protests like Gandhi?
Yeah, why don't they do
Because he was
marches?
literally outlawed in some states in this country.
And then in Israel, in Gaza, they did protest walks 2018, 2019, Great March of Return. Google it. Israeli snipers killed hundreds.
It's cancel culture only when somebody other than reactionary forces in any way, like even publicly, decries your speech. This is their statutes, and that had nothing to do with anything that's happened. Go ahead.
Their own words are saying they're part of this organization, that they don't just stand in solidarity, that they don't just support what they did, but that this is their movement too. So once you hitch your wagon to a group like Hamas, that takes you out of the realm of normal activity, and that's something that we're going to take action against. So we believe we're totally justified within the law, and I think things like this have been litigated time and again. But
No one red cent of taxpayer dollars going to Hamas. It's so stupid. I love, at some Florida schools where they're organizing little demonstrations, or I don't know, this could be 10 kids in a drum circle. And he's saying that money from them is going to Hamas. Red cent of taxpayer dollars. So first we have to think that because it's a state-funded school that permits group activity on college campuses where they're advocating for Palestinian rights, that's the equivalent of wiring money to Hamas? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a lot of those guys who thought Ron DeSantis, a very brave guy, are coming out complaining about his cancel culture now. His wokeism, his anti-wokeism, his censoring.